Now we're rolling. Damage Plan MMA podcast. I am Jason. As always, my co-host, the voice of MMA in Utah, Zack Partridge. What up, dog? Hey, we got another fighter spotlight for you guys today. We are welcoming Mr. David Kim back to the podcast. He will be fighting May 21st in the Fierce Challenger Series, fighting for the amateur 135-pound title. David, excited to have you back, man. You're one of mine, and I can vouch for Zack too. You're one of our favorite up-and-coming amateur fighters, man. We love watching you fight. Welcome to the podcast.
Dude, thank you so much. It's round 3 for Dave over here, so I'm excited to be back on.
Yeah, excited to have you on.
I'm almost a regular now, you know?
You are, so, yeah. You're getting into Deanna Bennett territory now.
Yes.
So David, you're fighting after 2 AMmy fights. You're fighting your first title fight. What do you anticipate will be different as far as preparing for 3 rounds opposed to 5?
Well, cardio, rule number 1, of course, is having good cardio. But I think it's also comes with the experience, like understanding how to pace yourself. Like when you're on, you're on. When you're off, knowing where to kind of breathe and feeling more comfortable both in the grappling and on your feet. I feel like my first fight was kind of just right out the gate. We just started going. Second fight, there was a little more of a feeling out process. And I think this one, you're going to see me be as comfortable as possible, real loose, ready to go.
That's more what I was alluding to, right? Cardio, obviously. But I mean, game plan wise, you don't want to throw away rounds, but you also know, you do have a round or so to kind of really get a feel of what your opponent's trying to do, right?
Yeah.
So that should be interesting. What do you know about your opponent?
Well, Edgar Sorto, he's 4-0. He's been fighting for a long time. So I think his first fight was against my teammate Robbie back in 2015 or so. So it was a long time ago. But he hasn't fought since 2018. He's 4-0, so he's undefeated just like me. So he's really tough. I've seen some video on him. Definitely seems like a great fighter. Good with his hands, good at the grappling. So I think it will be a pretty good matchup for me.
Yeah.
So, David, I got a question for you. So you guys got 5 or 6 guys from your gym fighting on this same card. 6 guys from Agima fighting on this card.
That's 7.
What's 7?
6.5 if you count Marco.
Yeah,
we're counting Marco. So he trains with us sometimes. Yeah.
What's it going to be like fighting with all your teammates there?
So you would know this, Jason. I'm not in the military or anything, but I can only imagine the last couple cards that I've been on with a bunch of teammates, it almost felt like we were going to war. There was just that special bond between people, and you're cutting weight together, and then you make weight, and you're getting through that whole process, and then you're in the back together as a team. You're feeling the heat, feeling the pressure, hearing the crowd go, And so I'm really excited. I'd much rather do this with teammates than on my own. Because I just feel like there's a better camaraderie between us, especially at Agima. When I first started at Agima, everyone was A, saying it wrong, B, we were just this kind of jujitsu place, I guess, just traditional gi school or something. And in the past couple of years, it's become one of the premier gyms in Utah, and it's been really cool to watch that growth. And I seriously credit that to Dane and Amy Aristizabal. They seriously have built an awesome thing at Agima Jiu-Jitsu, as well with Court. Court's helped a bunch too.
Yeah. What do you think is different that goes on at that gym that goes on at the other gyms across the state?
So I think the main thing that's different about Agima is not only are we working on the basic parts of MMA fighting, so striking, grappling, but I think we win a lot of the transitional places. So shoot boxing, cage wrestling, I feel like we're just a very complete gym that way. That's one of our key things that I think we're better than anyone else in the state at. And I also think that another big thing that makes us unique is the experience that we have with our coaches, between Dane, who is a very experienced coach and fighter, and Court obviously being, as of right now, we'll see what happens, the only active UFC fighter in the state. We have a lot of experience on our side, and I think that's helped a lot.
I would say one thing stuck out to me is, so Agima advertises they actually have wrestling classes.
True.
Recently at One Hit, Cole Faust started teaching a couple fights or a couple classes a week where it's more wrestling based classes and that's newer to One Hit.
Yeah.
I think that is something that's going to have to become standard in MMA gyms or else the other gyms are going to fall behind.
Yeah, I agree.
Because it was for sure my deficiency.
Yeah. So
never done anything, got into an MMA gym, did a bunch, kickboxing, did some Muay Thai classes, jiu-jitsu and stuff. Never really had like a real wrestling class until about 6 months ago.
Oh, wow. No way.
Yeah.
Maybe you'll have to unretire and get back in the cage once you can wrestle,
Yeah, Zack. Yeah.
Hey, Cole Faust wrestling. That's the thing now.
Yeah, dude, he has that crusher wrestling too. So that Layton High School, they're tough, man. So I grew up in the same. For our viewers, whoever's watching, like I grew up in the same region as Layton, so I wrestled at Viewmont, which historically has been like one of the better wrestling schools. So yeah, it's a good head start for sure.
Yeah.
If there's one thing that we've noticed, and Zack and I have talked about this probably for about 2 years now, and you touched on it, David, is the GEMA guys, they're always ready when you guys come into the cage. Win, lose, draw, doesn't matter. If a fighter is coming from a GEMA, they're ready. You guys are well prepared, well coached. Yeah. And it's been kind of nice to watch the evolution of that. And you're starting to see some of the other gyms start to kind of follow that path too, where the days of just, taking off your shirt and getting in and throwing down in the cage are pretty much over with.
Oh yeah, no, 100%. Like if you guys go to a Steel Fist card, Fierce card, and you watch like a debuter, they seriously look like a pro fighter from 6 years ago. Like it's the craziest thing.
You guys just had one a couple weeks ago on the Fierce card. Nicole looked phenomenal. She looked like she had 10 fights under her belt.
Oh, she's so game. She's so amazing. Seriously, like best first fight ever. So she was awesome. Like,
that was an impressive fight.
David, do you ever watch old seasons of The Ultimate Fighter?
If I'm being 100% honest, I'm not the biggest fan of like The Ultimate Fighter until this season. Like, I'm just not a reality TV person. Like I'll go back and like see clips and stuff, but like it wasn't until like somebody I knew like personally was on The Ultimate Fighter that like now I'm like really invested in it now. Like I'm super excited to see what happens tomorrow.
Yeah.
You know what happens.
I have no clue. So
they're just keeping it pretty buttoned up.
Hey, I'm not going to ask you to say anything because I know you can't, but so don't.
I don't know. Caitlin tells me nothing, man. Like Caitlin's so funny. Like I would try to guess stuff and she just dead silent. Fort Knox. So Uncle Dana has nothing to worry about with her.
I'm sure he doesn't.
Zack and I have our predictions already of where we think she's at. So
yeah. So I mean, Caitlin's awesome. She's doing good. She's doing good.
Well, so back to my original thing before I found out you were a big fat liar. I was gonna say you watched those first couple seasons.
Yeah.
And those were like the best unsigned guys, right?
Yep.
And I'm like, there are guys on that show that I'm like, there are amateurs in the state of Utah that would have beat those guys as pro fighters on The Ultimate Fighter in season 1.
I believe it.
Like they're terrible.
Yeah.
I'm not saying me, but I'm saying like somebody like you with like the background like you or Cole Faust who grew up doing it, like the next generation of amateurs that are coming up right now, if they stepped into the cage with those guys, they as amateurs, they would beat them.
Yeah. I like on your point, like I think exactly of, like MMA is such a young sport, like before 1993. And like, as you guys know, I'm in a martial arts studio right now. Like before 1993, like you really didn't know if karate was better than kung fu or like if sambo was legit, like it's seriously been like kind of an experimental thing the past quarter century. And I think we're going to start getting to the point where basketball is and baseball with like a lot more advanced analytics and like it's just going to get more scientific from here, and like there's so much video now, right? Like back in the day, like to watch a fight, you had to go to like the parking lot, or like go to the bar and like see what works and what doesn't. And now there's countless YouTube videos and UFC Fight Pass and ESPN Plus and pay-per-views every week from multiple organizations across the world. It's seriously so crazy to see, like, there's so much MMA out there.
Right. I agree. And the self-taught, right? Like if you go and like look like TikTok, YouTube and stuff, it's all Instagram, follow a bunch of different like jiu-jitsu stuff. And so I'm like trying to learn on my own while I'm learning on the gym and trying new things. Like, endless information database. What would you like to make a prediction for your fight on May 21st?
Prediction. Ooh. I'm not going to say a round, but I think it's going to be a stoppage. I think it's going to be a stoppage either by, submission strikes, kick, maybe another tornado kick. You just never know. But I think I'm going to get him out of there. I don't know what round though, so we'll have to fill that out.
I got a question. Out of the 7 guys that are fighting on the card from Agima, who is one that we should watch out for? I mean, we know about Alden. We know about Marco. We know about, but is there a debuter that we should be looking out for? Is there somebody that you've noticed in the gym that's like, watch out for this guy?
There are 2 guys. I don't know if you guys have had Andrew Mickelson on your podcast yet.
Not yet.
You should. That dude is amazing, man. He so if you didn't know, he used to be, I think, the kicker or punter for BYU.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that dude is an athlete, like the most athletic kicker of all time. Like seriously, the dude is an like D1 athlete. He is so tough. I see him get hard rounds in with Court, Alden, like all those guys every single day, and he's seriously amazing. The other guy is, I would watch out for Leandro. He's debuting on this card. That dude is dynamite. He's like the real deal. So I think you'll have a very similar reaction to watching him as you guys did Nicole a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, that's exciting because it's like Leandro, right? 0-0, and like what I was trying to match for him, it was like I didn't really know like what we didn't know what we're looking for, so I'm excited.
Yeah, y'all better be ready for him because he's seriously the like Argentinian Kelvin Gastelum. Like that dude is a savage, man. So he's short, stocky, and just ready to throw, man.
All right.
Yeah, he's a tough dude. So
I know the fight when Zack matched the Alden and Will Gibson fight. That fight was that's a banger of a fight.
That is a banger. Yep.
That's a good fight. Especially after what Will did the last 2 fierce cards ago against an undefeated Johan Rubio. He looked phenomenal, and Alden's looked great his last fight. So it's like, whoo, that's going to be a barn burner.
Yeah, man, I can't even, like, Alden's so big for 170 and so, like, it's not just that he's like physically one of the best fighters probably in the state, but like he seriously has such a good fighting IQ. Like I was blown away, like some of the stuff he's shown me in the gym and like talked to me about every single time I have a conversation with him about striking and like game planning and even some of the grappling stuff, which he hasn't shown as much in his fights. Like a light bulb goes off in my head every single time because he's such a good wealth of knowledge about fighting.
Awesome.
Yeah. How Alden makes 170 blows my mind because he didn't look like an undersized middleweight when he fought Schaefer.
Yeah, I don't get it either. Like that dude's big. So we call him. We have a nickname for him. Dane gave him a nickname, Pillow Hands. so anytime you hear like in our gym, it's like, okay, let's go Pillow Hands. Like it's Alden, which is ironic, I guess.
I thought it was Thor. I thought everybody called him Thor.
No, we call him Pillow Hands, man.
That's awesome, man. David, do you have any sponsors? Anybody you want to give a shout out to before we let you get out of here?
Obviously, I'm super grateful to my gym, Agima Jiu-Jitsu, Dane and Amy Aristizabal, Court McGee. The McGee Project's awesome as well. Also, I'm at my work right now, which is Premier Martial Arts. Every single time I come on here, I talk about it, but I seriously have one of the best jobs in the world, which is, teaching kids and adults martial arts. Another huge shout out. This isn't technically a sponsor, but I wanted to give a big thank you to Caitlin. She's hooked me up with a couple $100 worth of Bad Athletic, BCAAs and pre-workouts and, protein. And it seriously helped me through the camp. So if you guys are looking for some supplements, definitely hit Caitlin Neal up. So, and watch her tomorrow on Tough.
Yeah, that I was excited to see that she gets to be one of the ones to fight early.
Yeah. So apparently she was like in real life, she was one of the first fights, or she was the first fight.
Oh.
And for whatever reason, I don't know, we're going to have to find out tomorrow, but the producers put her on the second episode. So I don't know if that means there's going to be more drama or there's more content, so they needed a longer time frame.
He knows more. He knows more than he's leading on.
Oh, he for sure does. Dude, so you're dealing out your hand that we know that you're lying, and that's okay. I was never going to come on and try and get you
of course
and lie. You know, I don't want to put you in any situation than you already are. But no, it's fun. But that is one of the things that I just one of the things that I do hate about The Ultimate Fighter, and we've talked to multiple people that have been on that show. Gabe Rudiger was on the famous season 5 with like Nate Diaz and stuff, and it's like they pull clips from like weeks before and put certain weeks in just to make things look different. And I'm like, and then there's actually fights that you can see on some of the old seasons where it's like they'll have 2 fights on an episode. Yeah. And one guy has like, you see like in the, when they're walking out, you can see their teammates, and like one guy has a cut under his eye, and he hasn't, and on the show he hasn't fought yet, and then he gets that cut on the next fight. You know, and I'm like, oh, so they do them out of order. They don't even like show them the order they go in. Like it's kind of frustrating for me. Yeah,
it's kind of a wild thing, you know. Caitlin's been, you know, obviously like she's been really excited. I don't know if you guys knew, but she actually had a premiere for The Ultimate Fighter at the Pleasant Grove movie theater. Yeah, and so I was able to go to that, and it was seriously so cool to support her, and even, you know, not just her, but like I know we got Sula coming up with a fight. Hopefully, I don't know if it's official, but she's coming up trying to get some fights in with Combate, and we have a bunch of other awesome fights coming up from Agima. So I'm really excited to see what our team does. Yeah.
Nice.
Awesome. David, how do people get a hold of you for tickets?
Man, you can message me on Facebook, Instagram. I could even send you a text. Shout out my number. But yeah, you can reach out any social media. I might be privated on one of them, but yeah, you can just message me still. I got tons of tickets, guys. Like seriously, Fierce has hooked me up with a bunch of tickets, and my goal is to sell this thing out. I really want this to be the biggest event so we can get fighting back in Utah County. You know, Utah County is such a wealth of combat sports, and, you know, I mean, the only D1 wrestling team is in Orem as well. So like we really need to get a lot of these guys starting to look at fighting. BYU football, like I was mentioning with Andrew Mickelson, we got a bunch of other kids who, you know, they're athletes and they need something to do after college. So let's get it rolling.
Yeah.
Awesome, man. I love it.
That's a big thing we wanted to do with this is get consistent shows back in Utah County. So excited.
Awesome, man. Well, May 21st, Mountain View High School. Reach out to David. Reach out to your favorite fighter on the card. Support these guys. Support local MMA. David, can't wait to see you fight again. Like I said in the beginning, you're one of the podcast's favorite up-and-coming fighters, man. We love watching you fight. And it's not just inside the cage, it's outside the cage as well. Yeah. You're completely well-rounded, and we appreciate that and love what you're doing, man.
Well, thank you so much. Yeah. Thank you to Damage Plan MMA podcast for having me on, and insurance. And yeah, if you need anything from these guys, they're great. Seriously, good people.
Thanks,
appreciate it, David. We'll see you May 21st. We are out of here.
So
thank you.